We had our Sycamore taster evening on Thursday and had some wonderful conversations. One of these conversations, one of the students was telling me about a time management video that she'd seen online. Some of you might have seen this already. So there's this time management guru, probably costing about $10,000 or something, to be there with this group of people learning how can I get my time management right. And he does this experiment. He's got a big glass jar here on the table, and he takes some huge stones and he fills the glass jar up with these big stones right to the top. There it is. And he says to the group, "Is the jar full?" And of course they go yes, but they think this is a trick question. And so then he goes underneath the table, gets out this box of pebbles, and he pours the box of pebbles into the same jar, and it fills up even more. And he looks at this full jar and he says, "Is the box full?" And of course they say yes. Where's this going? And he gets another box full of sand, and he pours the box of sand into the full glass jar, and there is this absolutely crammed to the brim jar full of stones and pebbles and sand. And he says to them, "So what's the moral of this story, this experiment? What have you learnt from this?" And they raised their hands and they said, "Well, the moral is, however busy you are, you can always fit more in. There's always room to fit more in and do more and become more efficient and cram it in." And he looked at them and he said, "That is not the moral of this story. This is a story about prioritising. That if you do the big things first, if you put the big things in place, you will fit other things in as well. That's what I've done. But if you put the little things in first, if you fill the jar with pebbles or sand, there is no way you will get the big rocks in first." And I liked the story because it turned it upside down. I thought it was going to be about how I can squeeze everything out of those unused 5 minutes. No, he said it's nonsense. Forget about the 5 minutes. Forget about the little stuff. Get your priorities right and everything else will fit in. And by a happy coincidence, it's what the scripture readings are saying about faith and prayer. And what a message that is for us in this Freshers' Mass at the beginning of the term. That if we put God in the centre of our year, if we stay faithful to Him in the important things, in the core things of our faith, then whatever else is happening, it will fit together and it will come right with God's help. But if we leave Him out, if we forget about the things of God, everything else will get in the way of what really matters. This is the scripture readings. Moses is praying on the mountain, there with his arms out in this gesture of prayer. The Israelites are fighting on the plain below. And when Moses prays, the battle goes well. When he stops praying, when his hands fall to the side, the battle goes against them. Now be careful. Don't conclude from this that God only helps those who pray, only loves those who pray. That's nonsense. He loves everyone. He helps everyone. No, but if, like Moses, we keep God at the centre of our lives, if we stay faithful to Him, then He can work with us more. We're rooted. There is a centre. Honestly, He will do more with us if we are praying. Not because He loves us more, but because we allow Him to do more in our lives. We open the door. And if we forget Him, I hope you haven't had this experience, but you might have done. If we forget Him, things can fall apart very quickly. And the gospel parable, the widow demanding justice from an unjust judge, who has neither fear of God nor respect for man. She never gives up. She keeps coming to his house. She keeps banging on the door. Again, be careful how you interpreted it. Does it mean that God is like an unjust judge, reluctant to hear us, and we have to pester him? No. It's a parable about not losing heart, however difficult things are. And for you, really, whatever is happening in your life, however difficult things are this week, however silent God seems to be, never give up. Stay faithful. And the reason is because God is exactly not like the unjust judge. He's a merciful Father, constantly listening out for his children. He's a good shepherd, searching the mountains for his lost sheep. And the point of the parable is, if even an unjust judge will help a nagging widow, how much more will our loving Father? How much more can we absolutely depend on him and trust him? So the scripture readings today, and actually that lovely time management story, it's not just about having faith, but being faithful. Do you see the important difference? Having faith, it's about what we believe. It's important. But to be faithful is about how we live day to day, moment to moment. Both Moses and the widow, in some ways it's very undramatic, ordinary, plodding. A friend of mine, Simon, whenever he was struggling as a kid, as a teenager, his dad's favourite phrase was, "Keep bashing on." Very English phrase, keep bashing on, keep at it. And that poster that's become so common it's boring now, yes? Keep calm and carry on. That famous Second World War poster. It's a cliche now, but there's some truth in it. Whatever's happening, keep calm and carry on. Stay faithful. And it's very true for you at the beginning of this academic year to keep the simple things of your Catholic faith at the centre of your lives throughout the year, whatever is happening. And I just mean daily prayer. I don't mean you're great at praying, who is? But just each day we're praying. The Sunday Mass, as we are today, that it's there, whether it's rain or shine, and it's rain today. Regular confession. I'm not telling you how often to come, but just it's a part of our life, and we need to go, and we want to go. Some experience of Catholic community and friendship, and there are so many opportunities at the chaplaincy here, and in your colleges, and in your Catholic societies, and with your chaplains. And something to help you grow in your faith, in your understanding of what it means to be a Christian and a Catholic. So that, as I've said already this year, you're not just stuck or standing still, but you're growing and moving forward and going deeper. This is ordinary stuff, isn't it? Yeah? I'm not giving you the secret of happiness. I'm not telling you how this week is going to be wonderful. This is just ordinary, plodding stuff, but it's so important. And it's actually the secret of Cardinal Newman's life. There he is, yeah, looking a bit, you can't see him from that corner, looking a little bit serious in this black and white etching on our wall. Blessed Cardinal Newman, a great man. Yeah? Greatness. I'm not going to tell his life story now. That's for another sermon. Seriously, a great 19th century intellectual, a great Englishman, a great convert, a great Christian. But greatness has got nothing to do with why he was beatified, why he's a saint in heaven now. It was because at every moment of difficulty in his life, and he had many, many difficulties, as a student, as a young priest, as a convert, many difficulties, many tragedies, many challenges. At every moment of difficulty, he was faithful to the Lord and faithful to the truth. It's that quiet, humble faithfulness that took him in so many unexpected directions. And yes, he was one of the brainiest and holiest people who's ever lived, but it was the quiet, ordinary faithfulness in ordinary, unexpected circumstances that makes him a great saint. And that's for us, as much as him, the secret of greatness. We would like, well, here's the we, the preacher's we. I would like fireworks, honestly, in my faith. I'd like a bit of drama, excitement. I'd like, not many, but one or two miracles, to say I'd done some or I'd seen some, or just one or two by the end of life. And we do get fireworks sometimes. And it's great. I hope you've had one or two fireworks, rockets or maybe just little firecrackers that you put on the table. Yeah, where your faith has been so alive and shining and fizzing. And it's really good. But usually, instead of fireworks, God gives us fire. Again, do you see the distinction? And fire is much more important and precious and beautiful than fireworks. Our vocation is not to light some fireworks on bonfire night. That's relatively easy. You just need a lighter. Yeah? Our vocation is to keep the fire burning. To keep the fire burning. And that's much harder and much more important. I remember when I was studying in Rome, some of you have been to Rome, there's this ghastly monument in the middle of the city, the Vittorio Emanuele monument. Yeah, it's a kind of centrepiece of the Italian unification. But in the centre of the monument at the front, there are two Italian guards standing there, guarding the eternal flame, a flame in honour of the unknown war dead of Italy. Very beautiful memorial. And they just stand there. And they look pretty bored, actually, some of the time. But how important that role is. Not just to honour the flame, but to guard the flame. And to keep it alight. And to replenish the wood. And to protect it. And to keep the rain off it, as we've seen this morning, and to fan the flames. This is our job as Christians, to keep the flame of faith alive. Just to finish with the Moses story. I've said it's about Moses' faithfulness, as if we have to be faithful. But where are the Israelites? They're down in the plain fighting, aren't they? They're getting on with stuff. And actually, they're not very good at praying, but Moses is on the mountain, the mediator. And this is theologically important, and it's very consoling for us. Our mediator is Jesus Christ, the new Moses. And we want to be faithful. We want to pray every day. We want to be holy, but we're not very good at it. And it doesn't matter as long as we keep turning to Jesus Christ, the mediator between God and man. And I send you out to the front of the house after Mass to look at our new crucifix that's on the street. Have you seen it, some of you? Yeah. And it's important to do with the Moses story. Because on the famous San Damiano crucifix that we now have on Gower Street, Jesus, his eyes are open. And it's slightly disconcerting. Because it's not actually as if he's hanging on the cross. It's as if he's standing there. Look at it carefully. Standing, praying. because really it's a double image. It's Jesus dying on the cross for us, but it's also Jesus resurrected from the dead, standing in the presence of his Father, praying and interceding for us eternally as the great high priest. Jesus is the one who saves us. He's the one who is continually praying for us. He is the one who is always faithful. And our faith is not to pretend that we can do it all ourselves. Our faith is to be faithful to his faithfulness. That's what makes us Christians.